Okay, I couldn't pause it, but I wanted to put down that quote of basically that his philosophy isn't about changing or reforming society through politics. That this way is about individual transformation, the individual alchemy that occurs to turn us from whatever we are into metaphorical gold, something valuable. The personification of abundance in a way, infinite love, infinity in general, I guess. And that just has like really been speaking to me on like where I've been at in my coming back to my spiritual journey, I guess, because if I'm really being honest with myself, I have left a lot of the detailed stuff away because I think I touched on this in another video. I feel like it's so easy to get caught up in the woo-woo bullshit of it all. You know, it's not about the details, it's about the bigger picture, you know? And so I've been really thinking about what actionable ways can I generate this newfound ideology within myself to really focus my life on what matters, and that's developing my individual, I think, sense of health in a way. And it's interesting, this whole day of politically tainted shit for me, how it's kind of converged with my own health journey. A week ago, I got my diagnosis that I've been seeking for 5 years, after being sick with COVID, and a wrong diagnosis or incorrect, and this new diagnosis is going to bring about the need for a complete dietary upheaval, which is a huge endeavor for me, someone who has a complex and traumatic relationship with food at best. And so, but it has, all of this has culminated in my own concept of how do I create in myself what I want to see in the world, which is the healing and the love and the growth and tolerance and all of these things. I have to become that beacon of it for myself. And it's not about changing the world or changing anyone else. Even though I'll admit, since I became a parent, not only was my goal to raise my child as best as possible, but to make the world a better place for him to live in, because I've always seen that the world is an ugly place, and I really didn't want him to be in something like this. But I see now that it's not about changing the world and making it a better place for him. That's a fool's journey. It's about raising him to be the kind of person who is safe and secure regardless of where the world is at. And so to teach him to do that, I have to do it myself. And it's a little scary thinking about it. I don't know why, but it seems like we as humans seem to enjoy the turmoil and conflict, and we get bored when things are fine, when everything is good, right? So how do we as a species grow beyond that? How do we find infinite joy in the peace, in the quiet, in the stillness, in the silence? How do we find joy in nothing, in nothingness? And how can we find joy likewise in chaos as well? Both of these are necessary to have, to truly consider yourself to have that inner stability, right? You will be fine in the midst of everything or nothing, because you do not depend on what is or is not around you, right? And it's never been about making the world a gentler place for my son, though that would be great, though I would love that, though I do still believe that the world needs to be a gentler place. It's not about me forcibly fighting and trying to change the world. That's not how gentleness is created. It's created through example. And so I'm done being angry, even if I think these buffoons are actively collapsing my country. It's not about my country. It's not about countries at all. It's not about races or sexes or any of that. It's about humanity. I wouldn't say most of us are happy, right? Doesn't seem that way. Sure, maybe for a little bit, but maybe happy's the wrong word. I wouldn't say most of us are filled with an abundant, infinite sense of joy. And I do think that we're capable of that. I really do. But I have to find my own capabilities in it first. I know it's there. I know it's there in all of us. That source, that well of infinite nirvana. That peace, regardless of the turmoil around us. I know that that's possible in all of us. And I know I've been there myself, but I don't know how to stay there, or if we're even supposed to stay there. I don't know. But I do want to figure it all out. And I feel a little crazy saying all this stuff. I feel like I'm up some fucking woo-woo alley of bullshit, but, it's just, I'm not sure how to explain the truth. The feeling of truth, rather. That inner knowing, that gnosis, when you believe it wholeheartedly, and maybe our beliefs aren't always trustworthy, I don't know. I'm a huge skeptic, and anytime I feel that I have discovered or really made sense of, spiritual truth, I always also feel like I'm insane. But then I read these things from other people who've done terrible things and been terrible people, and yet really still had this intention of goodness. And I see the complexities and the nuances, and I see how easy it would be for someone like me, who does generally want good for people, to be radicalized, I guess, in that sense. Because when we see such deep injustices, us good people, it makes us angry. And anger is a fire that consumes everyone around it if left unattended. And I've been toying with the idea of the justification of righteous anger, but again, like I said, I've come to this new reading, and it's not about anything as minor as political policies. It's not about forcefully enacting social change. It's about the inner change. It's the individual. And it will happen one at a time, I guess. So all I can do is my peace. It's all any of us can do is our own peace. And coming to this understanding has really helped me let go of fear, at least, and a little bit of the anger. Not gonna lie, it still makes me upset to know that people are out there just hating on others because of things they can't control, like the color of their skin or the way they see themselves, which doesn't even hurt anyone else, but whatever. Gender identity doesn't hurt anyone. But I don't want to be angry anymore. I don't want to be sad anymore. I want to cultivate the change within myself, because that's how the masses change, is all of us doing it on our own, in a way. And we can do it together on our own, but we have to do it on our own. And that's scary, to really change on your own, to really know you're gonna have to review everything you've ever learned and rewrite whether or not it's true, really. Because what are we taught from childhood, except that, at least in American culture, is that we're separate from everyone else, and that God doesn't love us enough to just put us in heaven, so we gotta work hard to earn his forgiveness and like be bathed in water and all these little details, that we get caught up in, and we lose the true essence of this story of Jesus, which is a great story. But it's the story of rebirth spiritually, and this is a story for humanity. Humanity is a spiritual entity in and of itself, and this is our story. And we can keep fighting with ourselves, we can keep moral grandstanding with ourselves, but in the end, we're just fighting ourselves. And in the end, the only true work we can do on ourselves isn't being done when we're fighting others. I don't want to fight myself, aka others, or my real self, my physical self anyways. Real is subjective, right? But it just I have a lot to think about, and I wanted to share where I'm at. My emotions have been so intense. Thanks, period. But, it's just been a lot, and I realized that I don't really want to be part of that anymore. I don't want to be part of that emotional roller coaster. I tell myself I don't watch the news, but then I am on social media and I see these articles, and of course I read them, and they're inflammatory and they piss me off, and I go on a fucking rant, and it's just like I've wasted my energy that I could have spent cultivating my own ability to find inner peace. And I understand that this is just an opportunity to cultivate inner peace, and I also understand that I failed a lot this morning. But that's okay. It's okay. One, because I can't change it, and two, because it gives me a building block to go from there. So yeah, I am coming to an understanding of that my journey right now is about cultivating the best me I can in this life. And for me, that means alignment of mind, body, and soul. And so, been working on the mind for a while. Abuse is a hell of a thing to survive, and it fucks with your brain and head and mind. And so I've been working on that a lot. And now with this new medical diagnosis, I have incentive to work on the body part of it. And in tandem, in balance, so too the spirit part seems to be coming as well, through what I thought was about politics, what I thought was about fear of the future, is really the sense of spiritual uncertainty I've been feeling being highlighted to me, and then stumbling across this former crazy radical terrorist who is now some person I actually understand and agree with, which is just insane to me. It's just highlighted that the search for this way of living has existed always, and it is universal, regardless of what facet it may seem to represent. All these radicals, whether for Jesus or for Allah or for America, all of these radicals, they all have the same thing in common, and it's that they think they can change the world by inflicting their will upon others. And that's not how we make lasting change, not truly. True lasting change always comes from within, our own desires. And sure, our own desires can align with the physical circumstances, but it's like when a person goes to rehab. People sometimes go to rehab 3-4 times, and it doesn't do anything really. And it's not that the rehab doesn't work, because another person might go one time and it's what they needed to be sober for the rest of their lives. It's not about the rehab, it's about the person and their receptiveness to it and their dedication to it. And it's all of it is so individual. And so this numinous way, which I didn't really like the word at first because it felt awkward to say, but it's kind of growing on me. And then he's got another word for it that I can't even fucking pronounce because it seems like Latin or something. Which I take Latin, I should know how to pronounce, but whatever. It's about focusing on what we do have control of, changing the inner way. And I had been listening to some other stuff, like videos and stuff, previously this week about how the inner and the outer are merely reflections of one another. So, in a sense, they are quantum entangled and so affected and so the same as one another. As above, so below, right? As within, so without. And, so yeah, I think the big lie here that I'd been focused on was that I had to change the physical way for the interchange to happen in the world. That somehow, if we can get the laws to protect people of color and non-straight people, that then the inside changes for everyone. But one, it's not even about changing everyone else. They are me and I am them and we are we and all that stuff. Whatever the Beatles said. I am he as you are me, and we are all together. But really, we are one human species. We are humanity. And though we have many faces, we're on a journey. Not only to understand ourselves and our purpose and our place, but I think just life in general. The concept of our own existence, what it really means, what we can choose to make it mean, how we can handle the infinite multitude and all that jazz. I don't know. Something bigger and more wise than my silly human brain can handle, I guess. I just know for now, and for the foreseeable future, I am going to be most productive working on myself. Not shouting about my anger. Not praying and hoping that one day I can bring about legal reform for social change. Like, as we can see, the laws only go so far in influencing the culture of a society, right? So, and laws don't demand ethics or morality or spiritual awareness or consciousness. Well, I'm kind of rambling, so I'm going to end the video here. Thank you, though, to everyone who has listened and who hasn't judged me for maybe sounding hypocritical. And if you have, oh well, me too. I judge myself. But, I think it's okay to learn and grow, even if it happens really quickly. And even if you learn something that completely shifts your map of reality, it's okay. It's not a bad thing. It doesn't make you a fool. It makes you wise to learn and grow. And I think that's the negative connotation a lot of people seem to have with changing their mind, is that they think if they change their mind, then it means that they were stupid before, or that their ignorance is something to be ashamed of. But ignorance is not something to be ashamed of. Ignorance is the baseline, and then we have to learn. And the knowledge is something to be proud of. So if you're able to change, congratulations. And I'm proud of you, and you should be proud of yourself. And anyone who wants to see that as bad, maybe you'll congratulate them when they change too, right? So, I am excited to begin this journey in my life of aligning mind, body, and soul for myself. And sure, there's part of me that really hopes that by some paranormal, metaphysical way, that me doing all this inner work helps, like, other people see, like, hey, maybe we shouldn't, like, hate people because they're black, which just seems so common sense to me. But, isn't necessarily common sense for everyone in America. But also, too, I am going to do this work without the expectation that it will change anything besides myself. it's interesting trying to walk that line between we have all this care for people in the universe, yet the best thing we can really do for them is become our best selves, right? It's a bit of a paradox. Want to help others? Focus on you. I don't know. And that's just my understanding right now. That may change. May not. But it may. Who knows? Not me. Alright. I will let you guys go. Keep it sleazy.